Hey, what's going on, guys? Your boy Strand. Today we have another TWAB. Let's get some work done and learn about these new abilities and armor preview. Welcome back to our third and final Dev Insight article before the Monument of Triumph launches on June 9th. Last Thursday was all about our weapons and sandbox, and today we'll be focusing on our Guardians, abilities, armors, and exotic updates. We're going to skip past all of this and get straight to the juice because, once again, this is a long TWAB. I hope you guys got some snacks and something to drink. Let's get into it. Abilities and sandbox update. Hey there, Guardians. Gameplay team here, and with an update on the ability sandbox for the upcoming Monument of Triumph release. We've been heads down dreaming up new abilities and refining existing ones, and we've got some juicy changes to talk about today. New subclass abilities, Solar and Void. For too long, certain subclasses have lagged behind others in the number of aspects that aren't available to them. Monument of Triumph will remedy that and balance with 3 new aspects, bringing every non-prismatic subclass up to 4. First up, Titans. All right. Y'all know I love Solar Titan. It's one of my favorite subclasses. Solar is usually my favorite subclass on every class. So let's learn some more about it. Enhance your actually let's just read it. Hold on. Shield Burst. Enhances your equipped barricade with solar capabilities. Towering barricade. Your barricade slides forward across the ground before stopping, allowing you to advance to safety. Rally barricade. Standing behind your barricade. Standing behind your barricade grants a scorching rounds to your allies and solar kinetic weapons. Yeah, so scorching rounds. While your barricade is deployed, activate your class ability again to remotely detonate it. Scorching combatants caught in the detonation, dealing damage increases the power of the blast. The class ability's damage increases with your class stat. When your class stat is at 100 or higher, binds to long press. Got it. Deployed. Activate. Yeah, okay. Let's watch this video. They showed it in the Moments of Triumph trailer, but we can watch it again. Now this is cool. But you want to know the sad part about this is, unless they change arc, I'm pretty sure, we're just gonna become barricade bros now. We went from bubble bros to barricade bros. Let's go to light GG. I'm pretty sure the arc one that does the same thing with scorching rounds doesn't require you to use a specific weapon. So yeah, I'ma just now you're gonna have a Solar Titan and an Arc Titan putting the barricade down for deeps. That is cool though. All right. The Shield Burst aspect is essentially turns your barricade into a wall of glass with C4 charge strapped on it. It will charge up over time when it takes damage, and when you deal damage while it's active, the more charged up it is, the more damage it'll do, and more projectiles it'll throw out. The Towering and Rally barricades have their own unique functionality, and it plays nicely with the exotic armor like Armor Warden and Hollowfire Heart or Capri Sword. This ability's damage is buffed by Roaring Flames aspect and can create sunspots when paired with the Soul Invictus aspect. Damage from this ability also scales with your class ability when your class stat is over 100. In addition to the Monument of Triumph, you'll find other class ability aspects that directly deal damage now scale their damage with the class ability stat. Note, the Warlock construct damage continues to scale with grenade stat instead. Now let's take a look at the new Hunter aspect, Crack Shot. Activate your class ability to fire up 3 scorching shots at your targets you've marked, and aim at targets to mark them. Landing all 3 shot cures you. Okay, I really can't read today, but let's just watch because watching is easier than reading. I mean, that's cool. So what? You get like a little dodge and it'll lock onto them like Eyes Tomorrow. And it's still like a dodge kind of. So you can like, okay, but like, what's the class cooldown? What's gonna make me want to use this over? What is gonna make me want to use this over Marksman Dodge? You know what I mean? Activate your class ability to fire up to 3 scorching shots. Actually, wait a minute. Does this still proc with the dodge to give you knives back? Because it says just activate your class ability, so it should. Activating your class ability fired up to 3 scorching shots at combatants. You've marked aim at targets to mark them. Landing all 3 shots cures you. This ability damage increases with your class stat when class stat is over 100. Good lord, I can't talk. Crack shot is an ultimate gunslinger fantasy. Mark up to 3 targets, then dodge to quick draw a flaming pistol that light them up with dead-eye precision. If you have a single target marked, it will fire all 3 shots at them. If you have multiple targets marked, it will split the shots between them. Landing all 3 shots will cure you, providing some breathing room mid-combat. And also used while airborne, and damage from the ability with your class scales with your class stat when over 100. All right, let's look at Soul Siphon. We already saw the video. The video looked really cool. Ready this aspect by striking a foe with your powered melee ability. Once ready, press the melee ability to begin siphoning energy from your enemies in front of you, dealing damage and gathering overshield and class ability energy from each target. Why is this such low quality? Yeah, this is sick. This is sick. Someone did point out though, this is essentially Triage's ultimate animation in Marathon. We can't escape it. We literally can't escape it. Soul Siphon turns you into a life-draining vampire mage you always were meant to be. The Void Walker's Pocket Singularity melee has 2 charges by default, making it the baseline uptime for this aspect high. But building into melee regeneration will make it pay off even more. Building into the melee stat can increase both uptime and damage of the Soul Siphon, and it pairs well with exotic armor like Felweir's Helm, Claws of Amkar, and Karasin's Armlets. The overshield this ability provides allows you to stay in the fight longer, and it pairs well with the Feed the Void aspect to give you higher Devour uptime. The class energy that you gain from damaging enemies is also pairs well with the Child of the Old Gods aspect. Okay. I can see how this works. Like you you get the class ability energy, so you can put down more Child of the Old Gods. It'll keep them all in place. They'll take extra damage, and then you can use Soul Siphon on them. I see what you're putting. I'm picking up what you're putting down, Bungie. I'm picking up what you're putting down, but we're getting new grenades for the Darkness subclasses. Stasis and Strand are near and dear to our hearts. They deserve some love. We're adding 2 new grenades to the game with a Monument of Triumph update. A grenade that sticks to combatants before exploding into razor sharp stasis shrapnel. The shrapnel ricochets off surfaces, dealing damage to all in the path. Hitting a frozen target shatters it instantly and dealing bonus damage. Oh yeah. Oh, that's cool. Okay. That's pretty cool. I like that. I like that a lot. The Shatter Grenade's primary function is dealing damage. Though dealing direct hits will freeze combatants and slow enemy players, it's more effective in enclosed spaces when the shrapnel can bounce around to multiple targets and shred targets. Multiple times and shred targets, I'm sorry. But it also is effective against loosely grouped enemies. If you throw it at an enemy who is already frozen, it will explode immediately, dealing extra damage. Hunter Revenant and Joros will be happy to hear that Touch of Winter aspect also has a unique interaction with these grenades. Cool. This is good because you could just flat out not do damage with some of these grenades. Like none of the Darkness subclasses had grenades that dealt damage. Besides, like, none of them did. They did impact damage, but they weren't good at getting kills. On a related note, we changed Stasis Shatter damage to stun Overload champions instead of Unstoppable champions. We're reverting that change in Monument of Triumph, thank God. So Stasis Shatter will again stun Unstops instead of Overload. As Shatter Grenade's name implies, it will stun Unstoppable champions immediately on detonation. W. Strand Sliceware Grenade. A grenade that bounces and releases multiple whirling threads and severing targets. Oh yeah, that looks good. Dumb. So it's like a cluster bomb. Cool. The Strand Sliceware Grenade is damage dealer for first and foremost. It also severs targets, lowering the damage output. After being thrown, the grenade bounces along the ground, unleashing coiled threads that whip around, striking enemies up to 4 times. The damage can really pile up if you're able to land all 4 lashes on a group of enemies. This grenade has unique functionality when paired with the Warlock Brood Weaver Mind Spun Invocation aspect, which will let you discover on your own. Okay, new Night Stalker melee, Phantom Surge. Dashing forward, slashing combatants as you pass through them deals significantly increased damage to void, debuff targets, and targets marked by on the prowl. Generate void overshield for each combatant hit. Defeating at least 1 combatant grants additional overshield and refunds some melee energy. They posted this ability yesterday. I talked about it on stream. This looks cool. I mean, it's a melee ability, so it's not gonna be too long range, but I don't think people are gonna use this. Maybe if you use it in a build, but like just using it normally, probably not. Phantom Surge ushers in a new age of Night Stalker aggression. Whereas tossing a smoke bomb is relatively passive action, Phantom Surge asks Night Stalkers to cut straight through at their enemies, emerging stronger on the other side. The overshield you gain from hitting enemies is substantial, and our brilliant engineering team created a new tech visibility that enables you to phase straight through enemy units. The damage is increased versus void debuff targets, giving it a strong combo potential with abilities and weapons. All right. Ability reworks. We've reworked a few abilities to make them fit in their kits and enhance them in general. Let's talk about the Hunter's Trapper Ambush aspect first. Trapper's Ambush. Activate your air move to consume your class ability and dive into the ground, damaging targets on impact. Damage is greatly increased if striking while you have Damage is greatly increased if striking while you have a positive void status effect. Damaging enemies with your ability heals you, and defeating combatants with the ability grants Devour. Okay, it did 946. Okay, let's just look at the damage. Okay, so without a positive buff, it gives you 630 damage. But with the positive buff, because it's visible, 946. So that's about a third of a damage increase. That's not bad. Night Stalker previously had several ways to go invisible, but not many ways to capitalize on invisibility. Trapper's Ambush is now a substantial damage dealer. When I say substantial, and that damage is increased when you cast while invisible or on the effect of another void debuff. Casting it while invisible will refresh your invisibility when you hit the ground, and it retains its previous smoke cloud behavior when paired with Vanishing Step aspect. Trapper's Ambush now uses class ability energy instead of melee energy, and thus activates class ability perks like Marksman's Dodge and Gambler's Dodge. This enables you to combo it with the new Phantom Surge melee in creative ways. Finally, defeating enemies with Trapper's Ambush grants Devour, giving the Night Stalker more survivability than ever before. It also has a new animation and new VFX, and features a Void Blade instead of a Smoke Bomb. Cool. You can kind of see it right here. And like towards the end here, you can see like a little purple pulse go out. That's new as well. Good to see. A big change for Titans coming up next. Titan Sentinel Ward of Dawn creates a large protective dome for you and your allies, while inside Ward of Dawn, the allies gain Void Overshield and increased damage while targets inside the ward are weakened. The ward owner also gets increased melee damage while inside, and can pick up and throw the ward's core to reposition it up to 2 times. This is cool. Now, I feel like they say, you know what? They keep popping these bubbles on top of these bosses. Let's give them more room. Could be cool though. I still don't see how this is useful. I think it's cool that we got weapons of light back inside the bubble. If they just make it so Helm of Saint 14 gives you weapons of light outside the bubble, that's gonna be very disappointing. Y'all might as well just code this shit in to make it so it gives you weapons of light while you're outside of the bubble as well, and completely rework Helm of Saint 14. Huge ass bubble though, but like, I don't really see it making a motion. I'm glad they tried though, but I don't really see people using this over well either. Why use this when I can use well? But cool addition though. I'm excited. I'm happy that they changed shit. She just starts it again, and they sucked them in as well. I forgot to mention that. Pause. Why did I say pause? Ward of Dawn is now a giant Thunderdome that you fight inside. At more than twice its previous size, this new bubble is the new Sentinel's domain. Expanding their sphere and influence on the battlefield, you and your allies are buffed both offensively and defensively, while your enemies are debuffed, giving you a huge advantage in a wide range of combat scenarios. Once you've bested your enemy inside the bubble, simply pick up the core and throw it at somewhere else to reposition the Thunderdome. On deployment, nearby enemies are pulled into the dome, and base combatants are taunted by the players inside. Okay, the Helm of Saint 14 exotic armor has also been reworked to extend the time that Ward of Dawn lives, and it allows you and your allies to take weapons of light outside the dome. Cool, I guess. In the Crucible, make sure to protect the ward's core, as it serves as the ward's weak point. The new bubble holds a couple of other secrets, but we'll let you discover that on your own. All right, I guess. I don't know, man. I don't know how this is gonna work. I guess you could use it in certain activities, but we'll see what these other things they're talking about that are secret. They want to figure it out themselves. Warlock Broodweaver, Mind Stone Invocation, Threadling Grenades. Hold the grenade input to charge your Threadling grenade, causing it to weave a Threadling nest at the impact location that repeatedly spawns Threadlings. Okay, so they took this from the machine gun. Now this could be, now if you combine this with the machine gun that came out with Season with the Renegades, or the Outlaw, or whatever it's called, this could actually be pretty good. You could have a really good Threadling build. But we'll see how this works in progress. Threadlings usually don't do that much damage. I know they got buffed during, I think they got buffed during Into the Light, but still, I don't really see that many people using them. I was using them Into the Light a lot with freaking, because during Into the Light, we had all those Strand aspects that give you extra Threadlings, and Threadlings did more damage and stuff. But that's gone, so we'll see how that goes. Mind Stone Invocation aspect currently causes Threadling grenades to create Perch Threadlings, but starting in the Monument of Triumph release, this aspect will cause your charged Threadling grenade to spawn a Threadling nest in the world. This essentially allows you to weave Threadling turrets on the battlefield that give you additional angle of attack. The nest also interacts with The nest also interacts with the service of Luzaku Exotic Machine Gun to enhance its productivity. Exactly. I was just saying that. Stasis Harvest aspects. The three Stasis Harvest aspects, Tectonic Harvest, Grim Harvest, and Glacial Harvest, needed some love, so we reworked them. We are also reworked the Frost Armor. We've also reworked Frost Armor in the way Stasis subclasses create Shatter Shards. Shadow Shards. All Stasis subclasses now create Shadow Shards intrinsically. Shadow Shards are created with Stasis Guardian, when a Stasis Guardian shatters a Stasis Crystal or a frozen enemy, and when they defeat or slowed or frozen targets are defeated. Can't read today. Let's slow that down a little bit. Harvest aspects. Harvest aspects give you Frost Armor when you pick up a Shatter Shard. While you have Frost Armor, defeating an enemy with a Stasis or kinetic weapon has a chance to shatter the enemy, dealing damage to around the shattered enemy. I'm sorry. Okay, so basically it's like a version of Firefly with Shatter, but it doesn't say they have to be frozen for you to shatter them. So I guess you don't have to be frozen. I guess it freezes and shatters them too. That's cool. While you have Frost Armor, taking damage now grants ability energy. Titan is melee energy. Warlock is grenade energy. Hunter is class ability energy. Reduce the fragment slots from 3 to 2. Cool. Frost Armor. Frost Armor stacks now melt off one at a time instead of all at once. Each stack now gives slightly more damage resistance. Damage resistance at 5 stacks increases from 31 to 35%. So this goes up even more if you have if you have the freaking fragment that lets you have more Frost Armor stacks. You can have 9 with that fragment. When using a Stasis subclass, you can now create Shatter Shards without equipping the Harvest aspects. The Harvest aspects will continue to give Frost Armor when you pick up Stasis Shards and grant powerful benefit while you have Frost Armor. Meanwhile, Frost Armor stacks are now fall off one at a time. One stack falls off every 5 seconds by default, or every 6 seconds with Whispered Rhyme, allowing for much higher Frost Armor uptime. Ability changes. Alongside the above new ability reworks, we packed a ton of other ability balance changes into this release. If we talked in depth about all of them, we'd be here all day, not to mention we have a TWID coming after this. This ain't the TWID! So we'll just list them all below. We're going to omit some of these more minor changes to avoid bogging down the blog. It's mostly buffs, but there are some nerfs sprinkled in as well as to keep things balanced. Look at the full list of patch notes when the Monuments of Triumph launch on June 9th. This isn't the TWAB. It's a freaking dev insight. This isn't the TWAB. Oh my goodness. This ain't even the TWAB. Bro, when's the TWAB coming? It's Thursday. I thought this was the TWAB. Oh my goodness. Dawnblade, Heat Rises. While Heat Rises is active, it reduces the accuracy and combatants in attacks versus the Warlock. Heat Rises no longer decreases the initial burst of speed provided by activating Burst Glide. Icarus Dash, increased fragment slot from 2 to 3. Perfect. Stormcrawler, Chain Lightning Melee, increased damage versus combatants by 100%, now passively has 2 ability charges, I'm sorry. Lightning Surge, increased fragment slot from 2 to 3. Voidwalker, Cog, aka Child of the Old Gods, now suppresses the combatants for a short time after its initial attach, increase the child's max speed and acceleration by 100%, increase fragment slot from 2 to 3. Nova Bomb Cataclysm. Allied projectiles now pass through the Nova Bomb projectile instead of colliding with it. Great. Shadebinder. Frostpulse aspect. Now grants 5 stacks of frost armor if the ability frees the target. Increase fragment slot from 2 to 3. Broodweaver. The Wanderer aspect. Threadling final blows now reduce your tangle cooldown by 1 second. Okay. Sentinel. Offensive bulwark aspect. While players have avoid overshield, final blows now grant melee ability energy. Unbreakable. Final blows with unbreakable blast now grant devour. Slightly increase the size of Unbreakable's blast. Bastion, increase fragment slot from 2 to 3. Shield Bash, increase damage versus combatants by 100%. It specifies melee, but I'm wondering if this also includes the shield throw. Because technically that's a lot of damage, but probably not though. I used to pray for times like this. Thruster can now be used in the air. Yes! Knockout. No longer grants lunge range increase versus enemy players. Note this change should reduce some awkward rubber banding in the crucible melee battles. Touch with the Thunder God now grants 5 stacks of bolt charge per hit on lightning grenades. Flashbang grenade now explodes on the initial bounce in addition to its existing detonation. Storm grenade increases storm duration by 0.5 seconds. Increase maximum tracking speed by versus combatants by 38%. Increase time to reach max tracking speed by 25%. Seismic Strike, melee, increase damage versus combatants by 100%. Sunbreaker, Hammer Strike, increase hammer versus combatants by 100%. So, Solar Shoulder Charge and Arc Shoulder Charge, increased by 100%. Diamond Lance, reduce size of freeze detonation from thrown Diamond Lance versus players. It's pretty good, yes. Diamond Lances in PvP are very annoying. Cryoclasm, sliding while you have frost armor now launches a stasis wave that shatters stasis crystals and frozen enemies in front of you. Good to know. Glacial Quake, super. Heavy attacks now deal additional damage in the area in front of the Titan. Berserker, Dranger's Lash. Defeating elementally debuffed targets now grants you class ability energy. Increase fragment slots from 2 to 3. The suspending wave impact damage now scales when you're with your class stat, when your class stat is above 100. So this is the one that makes it whenever you use your barricade, it suspends the people. Okay, and that's why you get class ability energy. I thought this is the melee. Hunter, Night Stalker, on the prowl. In addition to acquiring a target when you become invisible, will now also passively acquire a target after a short time if you're not invisible. This passive acquisition does not occur against Guardians in the Crucible. Thank God they learned from the linear fusion. Mobius Quiver, super. Reduce the maximum Mobius Quiver buff to crossbow weapons by 50%. We knew this was coming. Crossbows are kind of strong. Understandable. Gunslinger. Acrobat's dodge class ability can now be activated while airborne. Proximity explosive knife, increased detonation size from 5 to 6 meters, increased detonation damage by 11%. On your mark, now grants solar restoration for 3 seconds instead of cure at the final blows at 10 stacks. Knock them down, now grants cure on super activation. Blade Barrage, increased knife projectile speed and tracking. Increased knife detonation size from 3 to 4.25 meters. Increased knife detonation damage by 10%. Knife detonations now scorch enemies. Golden Gun Deadshot. Reduce super energy gain from players by 40%. That's the one where you would get a kill with it, like the Phantom Hammer one. When you get a kill with it to give you super energy back, understandable. Kind of that can get kind of annoying in Clash. That's the only way people use it anyway. Arc Staff now grants bolt charge stacks on kills. Lethal Current now jolts and creates an aftershock when used Tempest strikes. I'm sorry. Lethal Current aspect now jolts and creates an aftershock when used with Tempest Strike. Can now be activated while in super. Ascension detonation damage now scales with your class stat when your class stat is above 100%. Now counts as a class ability for all perks and abilities. Threadrunner Rope Dart. Successfully catching the Rope Dart now grants Woven Mail based on the number of targets defeated. Now this could be gas with Caliban's hand. Ooh! Because if you do this, you don't, because, excuse me, let me nerd out for a bit. I have a Caliban build on my Hunter, but it's the Caliban exotic class item. And I had certain arachnids on there so I could get Woven Mail. You don't need that anymore. You could just throw oh my goodness, that's actually really good. Ensnaring Slam now counts as a class ability for all perks and abilities. Revenant, Shatter Dive, Aspect increase from 2 to 3 slots. Winter Shroud also going to 2-3 slots. So now it's two. They feel like they buffing everything in 3 slots. They said, man, just let them go wild. The game ain't gonna get nothing for a while. Just let them have all the slots. You know what? We appreciate you for that. Lightning Grenade, increased detonation damage by 20%, 25%. Scatter Grenade, reduces chase distance versus players by 50%. Reduce the amount of grenade energy this ability gains from perks by 12.5%. Grapple, against boss combatants, reduce max grapple damage bonus granted by grenade stat by 50%. Oh, no more chunking bosses with grappling grenade. Against boss combatants, reduce the the bonus granted by grenade. Against boss combatants, damage bonus granted by a grenade stat and melee stat is now additive instead of multiplicative. Multi-charge abilities. In PvP, when a match begins, multi-charge abilities now start with 1 charge instead of all charges. Stasis, Whisper of Rhyme, max frost armor stacks reduce from 8 to 7. Understandable. Damage resistance has been rescaled to provide max benefit. So you get the same but less stacks. So it's actually kind of a buff. Spark of Shock. When Jolt is applied via Arc Soul or Onyx Sentry, there is now a 4-second internal cooldown for applying Jolt again via these constructs. Understandable. Because, good lord, those buddy builds were going insane. Void, Invisible. It's still going to be strong though, because instead of Jolt, it's just going to be dumb damage. And they still apply Jolt, just not as much. That's fine. Void, Invisibility status effect. Made Void Invisibility more visible in the Crucible. Thank you. Volatile Rounds. Now increased weapon damage versus champions by 10%. Weapon damage with volatile rounds no longer stun barrier champions. Note, weapon archetypes now govern weapon-based champion status. Stuns. See last week's Dev Insight article for more information. Solar, Radiant. Increased weapon damage versus champions by 10%. No longer breaches barrier champions. Prismatic. Facet of Dominance. When Jolt is applied via an Arc Soul, there is now a 4-second internal cooldown for applying Jolt again via this construct. Got it. Gotta nerf the Prismatic build too. Ability stats. Reduce maximum passive ability cooldown bonus granted by ability stats by 20%. Reduce maximum active ability cooldown bonus granted by ability stats by from 190% to 125%. So you get, okay, they kind of nerf stats a bit here. Regarding this change to ability stats, we feel Destiny Combat has leaned slightly too far in the favor of using abilities to resolve encounters, and we'd like to shift it further into using weapons. The reduction of this ability uptime is paired with the general increase to primary and special weapon damage that we detailed in last week's article about weapon changes. The floor for this ability uptime remains where it is in the live game, but the ceiling was brought down to avoid highly optimized builds from trivializing combat. Abilities remain incredibly potent and powerful, especially with the new and adjusted abilities detailed above. Another change you want to provide some context for is this. Supers. Reduce super energy generation from dealing damage to bosses by 60%. We knew this was coming, bro. We was getting supers too fast, especially us Arc Titans with freaking the Arc Barricade, PKs, and 2 SMGs and that linear fusion from Thunder Doctrine. Doing dumb damage. Getting supers is super fast. With this changes to super generation at the super stat and Edge of Fate, with the changes to the super generation and the super stat and Edge of Fate, the boss damage meta shifted to super spam. It became possible to cast more than 6 supers in a single boss damage phase, which isn't the place we want supers to live. We worked with our internal raid and dungeon test group to refine super generation to a healthier place. Supers remain incredibly effective for the boss damage, but the Guardians will now need to think more about their weapons and other abilities to make the most of the damage phase. That represents most of the ability changes coming in this release. There are some other minor tuning adjustments, bug fixes, and that were omitted for the sake of brevity, but you'll find those in the patch notes when Moment of Triumph launches. Alrighty. Armor 3.0 updates. Ever since the release of Armor 3.0 system Reworks, we've seen increased variety in how players make their builds and leverage stats. However, there are always a couple of things that felt missing from the full picture. It's about time we fit those missing pieces in the moments we're finally getting. Are we finally getting a yes? We're finally getting a weapon super build. Let's go! That's what I've been waiting for. Woo! Armor archetypes. Our general goals for armor archetypes are as follows. Armor archetypes should help you understand and communicate your build crafting options with stats. Each of the 6 stats should be equally represented. Armor archetypes should support as many builds as possible. There should be as few armor archetypes as possible. Adding too many blows the amount of armor you want to keep in your vault and the size of the random roll pool, on top of making them harder to learn, understand, and communicate stats for a build. No single armor archetype should dominate the build crafting space across the game. We expect that the nature of stat means some archetypes would be more popular in specific type of activities. This is more about not making a best armor archetype for all non-crucible activities and or vice versa. We think the original 6 archetypes have fulfilled their goals admirably. However, certain builds require significantly more tools to get the stats they need. Since this doesn't usually limit the power of a build and instead primarily limits build variety, we plan on addressing this by adding 6 new armor archetypes. Click for a sample of the armor. Okay. Alrighty. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I felt like the Kool-Aid Man. Siegebreaker, Health and Grenade, Skirmisher, Melee and Weapons, Demolitionist, Grenade in Class, Colossus, Super in Health, Reworks class in Melee, and Powerhouse, Weapon, and Super. I feel bad for Drain, because Drain has been telling me this entire week he's been farming armor for Pantheon, and now it's gonna got way easier because there's a Weapon and Super class. Thank God. Our goal is that despite exciting options for those who want them looking at you, Powerhouse, your current builds won't be so outclassed that you feel like you must replace the roles you already have to be effective. But if you want to experiment with new builds or further fine-tune your stats, there are more options to build the distribution you want. Before we move on, we want to tackle a few questions we're expecting with the build crafters from out there. Will the new archetypes be available in all armor? Almost any new Armor 3.0 drop from anywhere in the game can drop with the new archetypes. The only exceptions are the exotic class items, which will keep their existing stat roll behavior. What about the missing stat combinations? Aren't there 30 possible archetypes? As mentioned above, we want to avoid bloating the pool, making it clear best choice for all Crucible and PvE activities. We want to keep each stat equally represented. We believe that this is the right number of combinations of archetypes to introduce and fit those goals, especially when combined with the armor mods and subclass bonuses, not counting mirrors. There will only be 3 armor stat pairs that are not available. Is it going to be harder to grind armor now? No. With the combination of 6 new archetypes and the sheer number of armor set bonuses available, it makes sense to give the armor mods on your ghost a boost. Each one will now improve the odds of your chosen archetype dropping to 1 and 2, previously 1 and 3, in the combination with a larger number of ways to get stat combinations you want. We believe this will make it significantly easier to get the stats you need for your build. Now let's talk exotic armor stats. This ain't even the TWAB. They did it to me again. Another hour video is on the way. And they've settled into exotic armor stats. We originally released Armor 3.0. We had a longer term plans to give exotic armors a way to access higher tier behavior. Originally, we planned to give them a deterministic route for upgrading. However, we ultimately realized that it was healthier for the game to take the most straightforward approach. Moving forward, all exotic armor will have tier 5 stats and will have access to all tuning mods. This applies retroactively to all Armor 3.0 exotics, other than collection rules. So, if you don't want to trade in your armor out for new archetypes, you won't have to acquire them again. Armor set bonuses. As they settled into the sandbox, we've seen Guardians leverage armor set bonuses in a lot of different ways. Overall, we're happy with how they fit into the role as a more flexible element of build crafting across the game. However, there are some things we felt like we should address. First, there are 2 set bonus perks that were big enough outliers that need balance adjustments. No! They ain't no free smoke jumper. Rise together, die together. Decrease the maximum damage resistance from 50 to 40. Oh, that's not even that big of a nerf. That's fine. While the rapid decay nature of DR means that it can provide high bonus without being a problem, the easy availability of Orbs of Power combined with the stacking with other DR sources make this set more valuable when mixed and matched than we like. We believe this adjustment hits the sweet spot where it'll still be potent but not a must pick for all content. Cool. Super Luminal Motion, Wayward Psyche 4-piece set perk. Increase the health granted while moving from 15 to 30 health per second outside of the crucible. The power of the Wayward Psyche set bonus fell short of our goals for what a raid armor set bonus should look like, especially Epic Desert Petrol, so we've doubled its effective healing. Perk behavior is unchanged in PvP. The second issue is simultaneously more straightforward and harder to solve. The current available list of set bonuses, while often fun to buildcraft with, can sometimes feel like they provide very few options. Many builds, even the Guardians seeking something outside of the standard setups, end up not having enough options to pick from, instead of defaulting to a small number of 2-piece set bonus combinations. The solution is simple. As we previously noted, we're refreshing a massive amount of gear across the game that includes set bonuses that were previously made compressed into a single release. We did not expect these to fully replace the existing options, which will still be available to earn, but you can look forward to a wide array of options from elemental effects, ability synergies, survivability to explosions. Explosions, movement, and echoes of armor mods past. There's something for everyone. To whet your appetite. In addition to some sets we've already announced, let's preview a pair of destination armor sets. I'm sorry, words are hard for me. I'm so excited and I just can't hide it. Exodus down, Nessus. Emergency electromagnet magnet. When your shields become broken, collect all nearby orbs of power and ammo bricks. 4-piece repurpose charge. Whenever you gain, lose, or spend an armor charge, heal and gain damage reduction for a short time. This effect scales with the amount of armor charge gained and lost or spent. Okay. Veritas, Throne World, Lucent Transmutation. Performing a finisher or combat on a combatant or landing a successive powered melee final blows generates an element of pickup based on your subclass. On your light subclass. So this does not work with darkness. Probably not because it says light. Lucent Ties. Performing a finisher on powerful combatants heals you and generates loyal void moths. Alright. There is another thing that maybe it's in the exotic armor balance preview, but we'll see. In Division 2, there's an exotic in Division 2 called I think it's the Ninja Bike Backpack. It allows you to get a point in every single class every single archetype and or I can't read. I'm sorry. It allows you to get 1 point in a set bonus. So for example, if I had, it would give you the ability to rock three 2-pieces or a 4-piece and a 2-piece, which was really good. And I'm like, it'd be an exotic. It wouldn't be the most used, but when it's used, it's gonna be really good. I would really appreciate if that was something in this game for everybody. I know in Division, it's different because anyone can put the book back on. You're going to need to make 3 exotics for it. Pick 3 exotics that nobody's using and just do that. That would be perfect. The ability to just, like, you could, theoretically, you could have 3 2-piece bonuses. Because you could have, well, is it true? Yeah, theoretically, you could have 3 2-piece bonuses. Or a 4-piece and a 2-piece bonus. That would be really cool. I'm just saying. Is that possible? Anyway, you know what I'm trying to get at. If the math is the math, then you know what I'm trying to get at. I feel like that'd be really cool. Moving forward, exotic armor balance preview. Alongside the above ability and armor changes, we took some time to update a handful of exotics from each class, spanning multiple years of D2 releases. Some have straightforward changes that lean into the fantasy, while others are being reworked. Let's dive in. Hunter's Exotic, Wormhusk Crown. At one point, Wormhusk was a genuine scourge on PvP, but within the modern sandbox, it has fallen by the wayside, especially in PvE, where it's always struggled. So, we're giving it a facelift with some build crafting hooks. This also comes with an update to the spirit of the Wormhusk to match these changes. Reworked effect. Solar multi-kills grant burning souls. While active, solar ability damage is increased and dodging greatly cures the player and nearby allies. Shards of Galanor. We looked at all capabilities when it comes to super damage output with exotics. Since Hunter has fewer options than other classes, we figured it was worth adding another. There's no Celestial Knife Hog, but we figure embedding a large solar bomb in your foes is close to second. Landing 5 out of the 7 knives in a volley during super causes a delayed solar explosion and releases solar shrapnel. This can happen with each volley of super knives. Landing both explosions is approximately comparable to a Curious Thunder Crash. Okay, let's see what they did to my Caliban's hand, one of my favorite exotics. Calibans have provided a strong option for the prismatic subclass for the prismatic class, but has largely fallen behind as a base exotic. To help, we're leaning further into what it does best, letting you chain proximity knives through ignitions. Increase the melee recharge bonus by 25%, dealing damage with Scorch now refunds a small amount of melee energy. Ignition final blows fully refund the knife energy and can overflow into the additional charge. Now this is good. Yes, sir. Worm Musk Crown. This is cool. I'm kind of sad we're starting to build into these exotics that make stuff do extra damage per flavor. Like we got it one with Void with the new like Titan Bastion arms, the new Titan arms, the freak, I forgot what they're called. Anyway, we're getting a lot of exotics that just like, hey, this exotic lets you do extra damage with this damage type. No, it's all fine though. Frosties have been begging for a buff some time now. What better way to do it than finally looping in some Stasis build crafting? Tonight, forecast is Freeze is coming. Gain stacks of Frost armor while sprinting. When you have Frost armor, Stasis weapons deal increased damage. I'll take it. Shinobu's Vow. Shinobu's Vow has not seen much PvE play in over the years. With the introduction of Bolt Charge to the game and popularity to other builds, this particular exotic seemed a good candidate for opening up some new gameplay for hunters. The changes we've made here are similar to the ones made recently to Lucky Raspberry, hooking it up with the existing loop to recent gameplay items, plus a bit of extra sport play. Now gain skip grenade energy whenever you gain stacks of bolt charge. Skip grenade damage now grants bolt charge. When you gain full bolt charge, heal yourself and nearby allies and enable an enhanced skip grenade. Enhanced skip grenades bounce 2 additional times before detonating, releasing bonus skip seekers per bounce. That's good. I like that a lot. Raiden Flux. Roaming supers have long felt a bit rough to use in champion heavy content. These changes to Raiden Flux allow you to use it as a potent anti-overload option and reward opting in the combo finisher. Arc Staffs now jolt targets. Combo finishers Palm Blast now gets a 1.5x base, the base exotic's base damage. Hold on. Combo finisher Palm Blast now gets 1.5x the base damage exotic's damage bonus. The base exotic damage bonus, and reports as critical damage yellow numbers. Mothkeeper's Wraps. In order to encourage more diverse build crafting with Mothkeepers, we opted to turn it into a conditional grenade override, similar to Gunpowder Gamble. This allows you to use your base grenade in addition to moth grenades without lowering the downtime of moth grenades compared to the current high uptime builds in the live game, which also mean increased uptime if you weren't invested into grenade generation. Mothkeeper's Wraps now provide moth grenades as a conditional override instead of complete override. Getting kills with any source getting kills from any source increments that counter the amount. Getting kills from any source increments that counter. The amount added to the counter per kill depends on the rank of the enemy killed. Once the counter reaches 6, you gain 2 moth grenade charges until they are used. All current and functionality and synergies from moth grenades will remain the same. For example, Arc Moth Still Blind, and having your grenade stat over 100 still increases their damage. They're still synergized with subclass fragments, etc. Increase the movement speed in Arc Moths by roughly 43% and Void Moths by 25%. Both moths from the same grenade will now attempt to target a separate enemy allies if possible. Lucky Pants. Oh no! It's time to get nerfed. Oh, Lucky Pants. You've been pretty good. But with some powerful hand cannons, it's become hard to justify the incredible magnitude of the damage bonus versus bosses. We're making some targeted adjustments to hand cannons that we've considered outliers, as well as Lucky Pants into the as well as pushing Lucky Pants into a more non-bossing combatant. We're making some targeted adjustments to the hand cannons that we've considered outliers, as well as pushing Lucky Pants into a more non-bossing combat for it to live sustainably in perpetuity. This is a fancy way of saying we don't want to live in a Lucky Pants manner forever. Increase Ariana's Vow maximum damage by 4.5%. Decrease Uncivil Discourse's maximum damage to 2.5%. Reduce Lucky Pants bonus damage versus bosses by 33%. Man, what's wrong with Lucky Pants? Like, it was kind of juiced. Ain't nothing wrong with it. It's an exotic that boosts damage. Now, I understand it can kind of come off as why not use Lucky Pants. I get it, but 33 seems like a little too much. Maybe nerfed by like 20? Anyway, I don't care about hunters. I play Titan. Let's move on. Hollow Fire Heart has been a very simple exotic for a long time, offering clear-cut benefits. However, its effects are largely vestigial of Destiny 2's first year. To bring back into a modern sandbox, it now leans deep into the I am a mobile sunspot, offering the effects of Soul Invictus sunspot, and then some while roaming and defeating enemies with your abilities. Reworked effect. While your solar super is charged, ability final blows cure you and give a stack of Sunfire Furnace. While Sunfire Furnace is active, Grenade and Shield Burst final blows trigger an ignition. Each stack increases grenade regeneration, class ability generation, and super damage. Upon exiting your super, all stacks are converted into super energy, decreased ability regen bonus from 3.5 to 2.5. So it's an exotic that gives you bonuses for not using your super, but when you do use your super, you get super energy back. That's actually really good. Power Gale, buff it, please buff it again, buff it to the max. As part of re-examining super damage exotics, we wanted to bring up Pyrogons. However, it is already quite a competitive option with Roaring Flames. Because of this, we have instead improved its ability to find its mark, as well as its damage over so slightly to reduce the necessity of Roaring Flames times 3. Slightly increase Super Cyclone Scorch per tick, increase Super Cyclone explosion damage by 10%, increase Super Cyclone tracking by approximately 40%. It should be remarkably easier to get the projectile to track at the target at range. Perfect. Stoicism. No! Spirit of the Star Eater. In comparing super damage, we believe that it is safe in the modern super damage climates and increase Spirit of the Star Eater's benefits for Twilight Arsenal back to its former values. Yes! It got buffed! I was wrong. Severance and Closure. We figured it's high time to give back Severance and Closure some potency while it's helping to... We figured it's high time to give back Severance and Closure some of its potency while also helping it bind into the kinetic aligned keywords we use. Improved occlusion on detonation, making it easier to hit with. Remove the effect that prevents combatants from being hit by multiple shockwaves in a short period of time. Enemies hit by the shockwave are disoriented for a short time. Praxic Vestment. The Praxic Vestment has a cool fantasy, but its tuning your Renegade's launch to prevent it from being the exciting new option that we wanted it to be. It is not in the release. In this release, we've given it a significant tune-up by improving its value, uptime, and usability. Increase the melee attack by 500%. Big slam. Okay. Oh, this is the jetpack. Increase the jetpack fuel gain per weapon kill in PvE, but from 10% to 20%. Increase jetpack fuel gain from melee kills from 35% to 50%. Updated the exotic perk to recognize knockout kills as powered melee kills. Improve the jetpack flight experience. Decrease the wind-up time for a maximum flight duration from 0.8 to 0.5. Remove the behavior that caused jetpack flight to end early when a contact is detected with floor or wall. Fix the bug that caused the jetpack kick to target dead enemies, ending flight early. Updated camera to better convey your speed. No backup plans. All right. Long have players asked to have no backup plans to work with non-void to go to... Hold on. Long have players asked to ask for no backup plans to work on non-void to go with the exotic's visual shifting to match. We are happy to say that it now does. It operates a bit differently than it used to though. But it still leans into aggressive close range built around your defensive buffs. Additionally, we've opened up the triggers to melee as well as shotguns to allow cleanup punches to also keep your engine going. Now triggers the benefits of both shotgun and melee final blows. Shotguns or melee final blows now start regeneration, health generation instead of granting void overshield. Shotgun or melee final blows extend the timer of any active defensive buffs on you. That includes void overshield, restoration, amplified, frost armor, and woven mail. Will partially heal void overshield upon activation of this extension if the player has one. The shotgun damage bonus is now active when you have any of the above noted defensive debuffs as well. Defensive debuffs as well as buffing melee damage. Alrighty, look at all these exotic buffs. Give me 1 second. I gotta go do some stuff real quick. It's already an hour long and the TWAB not even out yet. I'm back because the entire lawnmower agency at my apartment decided to mow the lawn right outside my window, and it was so loud that I could not record with that. So let's continue. Cadmus Ridge, Landscape. The Landscape has struggled to find a niche since its release. We've made some adjustments that opens up. That's got the S. That opens up its trigger conditions a bit and adds more value to leaning into the Stasis build elements. Now it can also spawn Stasis Lance with rapid Stasis weapon damage and final blows when not behind the rally barricade. Now it grants bonus Stasis Lance damage based on your current stats. A Frost Armor. Point Contact Cannon Brace. One of my favorite exotics. Point Contact has routinely at its best when you're just tap firing with Thunderclap instead of charging it. Which neglects the awesome fantasy of the ability. So we're making a couple of changes targeted at making the user experience charging Thunderclap with point contact better, which of course means more lightning. Activating Thunderclap and releases lightning strikes as you start winding up the punch. Lightning strikes damage now scales further based on how long the Thunderclap is charged for, up to 2x. This stacks with bonus damage from casting while amplified. Okay, reworked melee regen from lightning strikes to kills to compensate for the Reworked melee regen from lightning strike kills to compensate for the new wave of bolts and charge up. No longer target tiered. I don't even know what that means. Flat amount has been increased to compensate. Should see larger returns on average. Oh, so I think you used to get more energy back depending on the tier of enemy. So it's just flat. Perfect. Helm of St. 14. The current output of Helm of St. 14 to disorient in PvE is completely overshadowed by the Weapons of Light, and alongside the reworked Ward of Dawn, we've also found that the disorient proposed concerns in PvP. We've took the opportunity to give this exotic a complete facelift, integrates with the ward changes, provides a more appropriate replacement to the disorient, and bolsters the fantasy of St. 14 inspired by his infinite bubbles from old story missions. Unchanged, the Weapons of Light continues to persist for the wearer and allies upon leaving a Ward of Dawn. Added a new VFX to Ward of Dawn to indicate that it will provide Weapons of Light upon leaving. Removed, no longer disorients enemies if Ward of Dawn or blocking up. No longer disorient. Removed. No longer disorients enemies within your Ward of Dawn or upon blocking with Sentinel Shield. New functionality. While Weapons of Light is active, kills or sustained damage from any source that grants stacks of the same. Under the same circumstance, void or kinetic damage sources will also suppress in radius around the victim. Picking up a Ward of Dawn consumes all accrued stacks of the same, then extends your ward's duration based on the many stacks consumed. Helm of St. 14 synergy with specific exotic weapon has also been adjusted. They're talking about the bubble glaive. Hold on, wait a minute. Now imagine the glaive bubble is now the size of the normal bubble before the changes. Now that would be juicy, real juicy. HCD feedback fence. Feedback fence has been a recurring point of feedback in the Crucible. Even when not charged up, this should help. No longer provides any melee damage resistance to rest plays. Thank you. Blast Wave Striders. With many changes coming to the base Stasis kit, we looked back on how our dedicated Stasis exotic were performing and saw a spot to help improve performance. Consistency and potency of Blast Wave Striders and all in one fell swoop. This should help shift it from highly situational tool to an on-demand Stasis explosion for aggressive behemoth playstyles. Adjust the projectile to mirror that of the renegade behemoth walker's Stasis detonation. Decrease defeats the charge meter. Increase tracking strength of Stasis shrapnel on detonation. Should more effectively track frozen targets. Replace sliding with a shiver strike on hits as an activator. On shiver strike hits. Fix an issue where multiple kills in the same frame wouldn't increment the perk buildup. This is the boost. This is the freaking boost that we got for season with episode, the one with Crow and his unloved son, right? AKA Fickrel. Correct? Yes, it is. No one used this thing after the thing came out. Gain resistance to explosions, to your explosives. Defeat targets to charge this armor. Once charged, slide or deal explosive sub damage to rocket jump backwards and blast deadly shrapnel projectiles that spawn stasis crystals on impact. Change rocket jumps, grant false armor. Charge rocket jumps, grant false armor. Okay. Cool. So now it's gonna be on stasis shatter strikes hits. Perfect. Warlocks Exotics Nezi Sin. For a lots of player, Nezarec Sin has been a solid workhorse exotic when it all fails to suffice. We didn't want to modify this use case, but we did see an opportunity to tie it in with the new Void Walker aspect. Tie the way for the final god of pain. It is your turn to devour your enemy's fear. Who knows, maybe he's still listening. New effect. Target damage by Soul Siphon are now suppressed. Defeating suppressed targets with Soul Siphon grants an additional 1.5 seconds to Abyssal Extractors. If you guys who don't know what Nezarec Sin does, one of my favorite exotics, it is a pretty good workhorse. Void damage kills, increased ability, recharge rate. It got the job done. It was a good workhorse, and it's gonna be even good. Monodoxia. In super damage exotic, in our super damage exotic audit, we found a couple issues with Monodoxia's was dealing its bonus damage, which was leading to a lower value than expected. Increased the suspending burst damage from super combined by 22%. This makes it equal to Curious Thunder Crash. Have at it. This Hopkara Bone Helm is a classic exotic, but there's no reason to let it ossify. Returning energy on super final blows is so 2017. Last year, Void Walker got a second melee charge and a second grenade charge with the Chaos Accelerant. Why not a second cast of Nova Bomb? Better yet, how about us when we bring back Nova Bomb Lance? Why stop there? Maybe you could detonate your Cataclysm Nova Bomb with a Nova Lance for massive damage if your time is right, but you're special. And you can time it right every time, can't you? Oh player, oh mine. New effect. After casting Nova Bomb, you get a short period in which you can cast Nova Bomb Lance. Destroying a Cataclysmic Nova Bomb with Nova Bomb Lance creates a Nova Vortex alongside the Cataclysmic Nova Bomb Seekers. Unchanged. Super energy of Nova Bomb Final Blows and for weapon Final Blows while you have Devour. An additional damage resistance. The additional damage resistance while casting Nova Bomb has been removed from the perk, but remains as a hidden functionality to help the new player pattern sing. So you can throw, after casting Nova Bomb, gain a brief free cast of a fast-moving, weaker Nova Bomb Lance. Your Nova Bomb Cataclysm is a power that if detonated with another Nova Bomb. So I could throw a big fat Nova Bomb and then throw a fast Nova Bomb behind me to make a freaking black hole. Warlocks always get the cool shit. I'm telling you, bro, these Warlock fans of Bungie, man, they be getting everything. Let's see what other cool stuff they get. Crown of Tempest. Crown of Tempest is an exotic that is decently powerful, but rather demanding to maintain and unexciting to use compared to the other options in today's sandbox. Plus, Crown of Tempest on Stormcaller Warlock deserves a bit more thunder, don't you think? Increase the duration of conduction times in PvE from 7 to 10 seconds. New effect. While you have at least one stack of conduction times, Ionic Sentries create storm grenades when it is deployed. Mantle of Battle Harmony. Battle Harmony has been left in a bit of a dust over the years. The changes here allow it to function even when fighting bosses, as well as give it a nice bonus for actually choosing to use your super instead of holding on to it for damage bonus. Now can trigger its super energy gain on weapon damage bonuses. Hold on. Now can trigger a super energy gain or weapon damage bonus on sustained weapon damage in addition to final blows. After casting your super, now gain surges for all elements and weapons matching your super damage type and cause detonations. Hold on. After casting your super, now gain surges for all elements and weapons matching your super damage type, cause detonations when hitting a target for moderate duration. So they're making it an exotic. So now Warlocks got an ability that gives them even more super energy. So now can trigger a super energy gain, so you can get extra super energy and weapon bonus when you shoot people just in general. This is gonna be insane with if you're a Warlock. Who needs the other chest piece? This is great. Astrocyte Burst. Because of the natural limitations of blink and a small area of effect of volatile burst that exotic grants, it struggled to see much use. To address these issues, we've added a new air move ability, which should help some flexibility to link in both in and out of combat and expand the ability to apply volatile. I just do my chapstick, who cares? New effects. While both this helmet and blink are equipped, you can now use your air move input to perform dark blink horizontally in a direction. This ability has a longer cooldown in the Crucible. Blinking or dark blinking now grants volatile rounds in addition to a volatile explosion. Perfect. Dawn Chorus. Don Chorus's various benefits didn't quite come together in a strong build, which limited its viability. To address that, we've expanded Scorcher benefits to also affect ignitions, which should synergize with Incinerator Snap and further improve its interactions with Daybreak. So if you guys didn't know, for the longest, Don Chorus didn't affect ignitions. Now it does. Now it causes your Scorch to build up even more intense ignitions. Now it grants melee energy for dealing ignitions damage in addition to Scorch damage. Remove the internal cooldown on energy gains from Scorch damage and return gains to return slightly more energy overall. Retune gains, I'm sorry. Now causes Daybreak projectiles to always immediately trigger an ignition. Nothing manacles. Scatter grenades and nothing manacles got a little bit too much in Renegade, so we're turning it back a bit. Our extra seekers can no longer chain off themselves just an initial grenade. Reduce extra seekers generated from 4 to 3. Reduce range of lifetime extra seekers. Controverse hold. While it was nice seeing handheld Supernova back in the spotlight again, the value for the effort of using it with Controverse hold was a bit too free. Reduce the energy returns from extra magnetic grenade handheld Supernova by 50%. This is in addition to firing health chunking, to fixing the health chunking buff. No more chunkers. No more John Chunk. Dime, I don't even know what this exotic is. Is this the freaking one that came with Renegades? Google. I mean, not Google. Lady G, help me out. It is. Okay. Let's see what it does first. While Strand Super is equipped, casting a reversal suspend nearby combatants, suspends deal damage over time, which heals you in process. Targets who break free from the suspension suffer additional damage. Defeating suspended targets heals you for a moderate amount. Dimesso Fusion has been a recurring point of feedback in the Crucible, allowing for far too easy kills while being completely safe. This should help reducing that. Increase the time between damage takes against players from 0.1 to 0.3 seconds. That is all for now. Thank you for the continued support and feedback over the years. We hope you enjoy playing in the new sandbox as much as we all have internally. We are excited to get all these in your hands on June 9th. DT Community Team. Complete triumphs and spend legendary marks. Nestled in the tower courtyard behind the newly erected monument are 4 plaques and celebrating the Guardian's tenets. Interacting with these plaques open different vendors where you may purchase rewards in exchange for the new currency legendary marks. After inspecting the courtyard monument, make your first purchase of the Tenet of Bravery to unlock all other Tenet vendors. Legendary marks are earned upon completing any triumph from Monument Triumph. These can be conveniently located by interacting with the View Triumphs button on these vendor screen. These triumphs can also be accessed through the Journey tab. There's even a new View featured shortcut to quickly open directly to the Monument of Triumph category from Triumphs button in the Journey screen. From the Triumphs button in the Journey screen. Finding rewards you want. There are so much to earn. Here's a breakdown of where you can find different types of rewards. All vendors, a selection of armor ornament sets, ghost, ships, and sparrow accessory sets. Tenet of Bravery, new skimmer, new universal ornament, helmet ornament, Fafnir, and heir apparent exotic weapons. All engrams and general engrams. So you can get the new hand cannon here. Perfect. I mean, it's not like no one, I mean, if y'all don't have heir apparent by now, I mean, that's crazy, but go off. Tenet of Devotion, selection of SRL cosmetics, the Griffin, and all-star skimmer vector. And the Griffin is the freaking weapon sparrow that we got that no one ever uses. General emotes. Tenet of Sacrifice, new universal helmet ornament, super black shader, earnable hollow chip, and general finishers and ghost chips. Super black is back. Good job. Where's the hollow chip at? I don't see it. Anyway, we'll see it later. We got the skins and the armors for each characters. Tenet of Death, Einhar Cornet universal helmet ornament. Some random exotic armor ornaments, maybe you'll recognize them. Selection of a raid and dungeon related cosmetics, shadow white shader, and general shaders and transmat effects. For the love of God, is this? If this is the way that I can finally get that sit emote from the Spire of Stars raid, because I never got to do it. I couldn't find a team for the Spire of Stars raid before Beyond Light came out. If I can finally get that chair emote, I'd be very happy, but I also understand they want to keep it limited for people who were there for it. While the majority of the rewards can be purchased as soon as they're required, number of legendary marks are earned, some rewards will ask you to complete specific triumphs or set of triumphs to be able to purchase them for legendary marks. For example, Chatter White, complete the weekly deep side quest, which is offered from Hawthorne and Town of Bazaar for the Vault of Glass raid. Understandable. Einhar Coronet, complete 8 triumphs and teamwork raid challenge category. Immortal Legend armor ornament set, obtain the immortal title. Oh, this is sick. Whoo, this is sick. Whoo, this is a sick armor set. I like this crown. Too bad Titan still got bulky shoulders. What weapon is this? What weapon is that? What is that? Bungie Foundation stuff, celebrate Pride Month stuff, original soundtrack. This is a cool emblem for returners and old likes. We have something extra nice ready for every player that logins to play Monument of Triumph. In addition to 2 bright engrams and 50 legendary marks, you'll also receive the Toast of the Monument emblem below when you return to starting June 9th. Claim them from the special deliveries kiosk and tower located between Banshee and Raoul. Now, this is a nice emblem, man. All the people we done seen. We got the Vanguard in the full image. You got all the people we've been friends with. All the people. I mean, I'm glad they got Cade in there and they got like Crow to the side. You're like, I mean, I guess people would want Cade there more than Crow. But even though Crow is the new Hunter Vanguard. Meanwhile, for our veteran players, those who have played all that Destiny 2 has to offer from the Red War campaign to Renegades, we have one more set of rewards to share. The Old Lights emblem shown below in a unique emote Elemento Chi. I'm assuming that's what it sounds like. Oh, so it's like is that the Taken King symbol? Oh my goodness, it is! Taken King. Then we got that. Then we got D2, Red War, the freaking Osiris chapter, Warmind, Forsaken, Shadowkeep, Beyond Light, 30th anniversary, Witch Queen, Lightfall, Final Shape, Edge of Fate, Renegades. Oh, that's cool. After the Monument of Triumph launches, the Old Lights emblem will be awarded to any player whose account recorded any amount of playtime in each of the Destiny 2 expansion's years, including D2, Forsaken, Shadowkeep, Beyond Light, Witch Queen, Lightfall, Final Shape, and Year of the Prophecy. This emblem is released during our launch window. We do not have a specific time, but we should be sure to let you know when it's live. Player support report. This is a really cool stuff. More really cool stuff. Sign of the 9. Yep. Scroll. And the TWAB before the Monument of Triumph launches is now complete. Just a few more days before you can all start experiencing everything this update has to offer. Take your time to experiment and try new things, and don't underestimate or don't hesitate just to make weird mixes here and there for weapons and armor you never used. Who knows? It could be the next meta. Publishing 3 Dev Insight articles along with our accompanying TWABs was a tough task. We needed more than 29,000 words to probably show you all this update really was. Probably show you all why this update was a really big deal and how much work went into updating so many parts of Destiny 2. After checking out all the love and excitement you pulled all over social media and video platforms over the last 2 weeks, it seems we achieved our goal. The only thing that remains is to load in the D2 and play Monument of Triumph on Tuesday. We'll be there with you. Throw us an emote if you see us. We'll dance with you, cheer at you, and hand out free hugs. Find us in the tower on June 9th, the D2 community team. Boys and girls, I still cannot fathom the progress we've made as a community. We've been playing this game for 10 years. Some of this game is older than some of the people that play it. I've been playing this game since I was in middle school. And somehow, some way, we still found out to wake up movement. If you guys were not in the state of play yesterday, boys and girls, we made our voices known on, I think it was Tuesday. On Tuesday, you guys, the State of Play Twitch chat and I believe YouTube chat for the PlayStation account and multiple other streaming people that were streaming the game was spammed with "We want Destiny 3. I have never been so proud of you specifically. Thank you so much for being part of this community. Have a good one. Stay spooky, and I'll see you on June 9th. Stay spooky. Peace.